guys, this is Edison, Andrea, and Josh here in TE 150 Reflections on Learning, giving our final video report for our intercultural interactions. So we're going to be going over just some analysis of learning, talking about strategies of metacognition. We're going to be going over analysis of motivation, what keeps them motivated. We're going to talk about some new thoughts that we had as a group, and then we're going to talk about the implications that our interactions had on our teaching features. So as a brief introduction, I'll start. My subject, his name is Josh as well. Josh lived in the same dorm as me my freshman year. And Josh, who is white, he is gay. So that was our main intercultural difference. So I just took him to a couple Jewish events, and then he took me to some LGBTQ events, and then we just hung out and talked about different learning strategies that we had. So yeah.
Hey, yep, so I'm Andrea. My partner's name is Simon. He's from China, and I worked with him in the gallery. Well, I did. And so for our interactions, we went to dinner and ate food I liked, and then for our second interaction, we went to his house and he cooked dinner for me. And I feel like the intimacy of our interaction really gave me a chance to understand him culturally and as a person.
Hey, my name is Edison. My interviewer's name is Josh Way, and he's my next door neighbor at my apartment building. And he's Chinese American, and he's only been living here for 2 years. He came here for freshman year, now sophomore. And our interactions, I'm really into rock climbing, so for the first thing we went rock climbing, and I just kind of showed him what that's about. And for the second one, we went to a restaurant of his choosing around here, and he said it was pretty authentic Chinese food, and we ate that, and it was interesting. It was very good. It was not at all what I expected, really. And then for the third one, we just kind of got his friends and my friends, and we all went over to his house and we just kind of hung out. And it was a pretty eye-opening experience about like why we're here, like what our motivations is, why we want to learn. And so yeah, that was my initial experience with it.
So I interviewed Simon, and I asked him questions about like his most difficult classes and his strategies to overcome and successful in them. One of his classes was packaging, I believe, and it wasn't that he didn't understand the class necessarily, or that the class or the lessons were difficult. It was more of him understanding the professor, what the professor was trying to say. And I think it was that, well, it came to a point where it's like the teacher needs to break it down so that the student understands it. So I think that's where Simon was coming from. It could have been because of his cultural difference, but I don't believe he explained that exactly. Some of his strategies were just to talk to the other students, maybe after class, to help them understand better. I remember one thing specifically that Simon did not ask questions during class, mostly because in Chinese culture, it's a respect thing. And a lot of times they care about what others think of them, so they like to ask questions in a more private setting. So I remember him, explaining that to me. Here in America, I feel like we're a little bit more open as far as asking questions during a lecture or things like that. So
yeah. All right. So some analysis of motivation that we came up with. There was a common theme amongst all three of our subjects. They were all heavily motivated by success in terms of grades and potential endeavors in the future. So specifically with my subject, Josh, he's an incredibly focused and determined individual, and he plans on going to law school. So one of the big things about that was he knows that he needs to maintain both a stellar GPA and achieve a successful LSAT score in order to get into one of these top tier law schools that he wants to go to. He's like looking into Ivy League schools. So he definitely uses that as motivation. And then from what I learned with Simon and Josue is they have not exactly the same aspirations, but it's in the same vein where they want to just be successful. They came here to strive and to move forward and to learn and to succeed. So that was definitely interesting to see that even two Asian Americans and someone from here in America, they share some of the same sentiments. And so that was definitely something that I wasn't necessarily expecting to see, and it was very interesting to come away with that. So that was definitely pretty cool.
Yeah, and I'm talking about some new thoughts we had while doing this project. some really interesting new ideas, at least I know and from listening to my group also kind of experienced, was in going out and learning about these other people and how they learn. It was also almost an introspective project. It was very easy to reflect on why yourself are doing these things. And it's a very similar across all cultures is what we found, that you're here and you want to do well, you want to make the people who love you proud of you, and society, for whatever reason, has decided good grades make people proud. It gets a job. Everybody enjoys the person who gets good grades. And that's been a really driving force for every single student that we've encountered. They want to get good grades for themselves, for sure, but also to make the people around them very proud. And that was a very interesting experience. At least I wasn't necessarily expecting that, and I hadn't truly looked inside to find that that's also why I'm doing it. Like, I always kind of thought, I'm just doing school, getting good grades for myself. But at further introspection, that wasn't exactly the truth. Yes, I am getting good grades for myself, but the main new idea I learned was I'm getting good grades, and I'm succeeding in college for all the people around me, all the people who counted on me, and all the people who loved me. And it was an eye-opening experience to really truly look at like why you're doing what you're doing, and it was just really interesting. And I think it parlays really well into the next category, which we'll talk about, is strategies for teaching. When you realize that people aren't necessarily just motivated by what themselves want, they're motivated by everybody else around them, I think it's very important in the classroom, especially at a younger age, to get the people around them involved in the learning experience. Bring the parents in, talk to the parents about the parents' expectations for the students, your expectations for the students, and how those expectations can work together to really improve the student's experience in the classroom. When there's a dichotomy between what the parent expects and what the teacher expects, it can lead to the student, especially at a young age, being confused and maybe lashing out in a way that is detrimental to their learning experience. If the teacher is about just like learning, experiencing the student, and the mom's all about like math and like science, and you're about reading and creativity, that can lead to a really confusing classroom experience, because the messages they're getting at home from the people that are most important to them, which we now know is an extremely large driving experience in how well you succeed in the classroom, and the messages you're getting in the classroom from the teacher are way different. And a young person doesn't really know how to cope with these differences in messages. So I think the main strategy for teaching at especially a young age, even up until like the upper echelon, I know I still get emails from my mom in college like asking me about class and what she expects and like how to make her proud of me, So it's very important to lay out the guidelines not only for the student but for the parent, and try to enlist the parent's help. It will never be good if the teacher and the parent are at odds with each other. So that's what the main takeaway from the teaching techniques is. Make sure you enlist people important to the student to aid the student rather than like letting this confused student grow and linger.
All right. Well, so that concludes our video report. We had some really interesting experiences, and we hope that you guys enjoyed our experiences as much as we did. So thank you very much, and it's been a great semester. Thank you very much for everything.
Bye.
Side note, sorry guys. I think the point of our project was to understand the cultural differences and be accepting to them. But I really think we learned that we're more than the same.
Yeah, for sure.
The differences. So okay.
Yeah.
Peace.
Thanks.
Bye.